Are you trying to figure out how much this new website's going to cost you to have somebody maintain it each month? Or maybe you've got the website already, but you're trying to figure out how much it's going to cost you to have somebody update your blog post and do all the things for you and just make sure the dang thing stays non-hacked? I've got your answers. Hi, my name is Wendy and I am a website designer. My company is Creation Depot and I have been a designer for 22 plus years. I've been a designer since 1998, so I have pretty much seen it all. I have watched the web change over the entirety, not the entirety, the web was actually made in like the 1960s, but that's a whole other thing. Basically, what we're working on today is we're trying to figure out how much it's going to cost to have a new website or a current website, how much you should be looking at maintenance costs. And for the purposes of this one, because that really is kind of like a ballpark kind of question, everybody and their brother has got a website with different needs. There is no such thing as the exact same thing for everybody because it's just different. If you're in a different country, if you've got different site needs, if you've got an application on your site, like it really does change. So because it really is kind of selling all the options, I'm going to give you the option of a small business website. We're talking no frills. Like you don't have a custom app on your site. Shopping carts are fine. I'm talking just like your basic site. Like you've got a blog, you got a contact form on your contact page, you've got an about page, you got a couple service pages maybe, your blog and if you have a shopping cart, like you have got a small shopping cart, just basic stuff. That's what I'm talking about. You have under 50,000 hits a month. That's the size site I'm talking about when I mean this. So keep that in mind. If you have more than that, your costs are going to be higher because you're going to have other responsibilities, other things that need to happen. If you have a gigantic site, for example, you will have, you probably want to use like Amazon services. Amazon has web services, AWS, that basically lets you mirror your site and you can have it on different coasts so that if one site server goes down, the other site pops up. Like those are like big leagues things. And we're not talking about that because again, it can be as simple as like a $5 a month thing, or it can be like an $8,000 thing a month. So we're going on the small end. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is hosting. Hosting, again, kind of ranges even on the small end, because you can have like the big names like GoDaddy and Bluehost and all those big. I think there's GatorHost and a couple other ones, and InMotion Hosting is another one. So basically, I could just keep going. There's a lot of hosting companies because there's so many websites. So like there's plenty of fish in the sea for this. So basically, you can't go wrong if you're a small business going with a gigantic hosting company. Any of those that I named are fine. Different ones have different company values, so maybe that's a concern of yours. But honestly, any of those are going to have what's called WordPress hosting. There's no difference between that and a regular hosting. They're all going to be about $5 to $10 a month, probably on the less of than five. Like I've seen some of them advertised for like $2.96 a month. So you just kind of got to do your research about which one you want to do business with. But other than that, all of them are going to be fine. And like I said, they sometimes offer hosting for WordPress specific websites. If you've got a WordPress site, or you're looking at doing a WordPress site, you need to know that there is no difference between that and a regular one, except for if you buy a WordPress based hosting one, they will likely already have set up a WordPress platform for you. So you just got to log into your stuff and you're good to go. But as far as the other hosting is concerned, all of them come with email, all of them come with a certain amount of bandwidth. And that's kind of where, when we're talking about bandwidth, that's kind of where you want to look to see the differences between them, because obviously the more bandwidth you get for your money, the better. But again, you're so small, you're not going to notice the difference. I mean, it's like driving a Ferrari on a freeway that only goes 55. It's like, yeah, you could go faster, but you're not going to, so it really doesn't matter. So do you really want to pay for extra? Not really. And then there's hosting, like I offer hosting, right? Creation Depot does offer hosting. We offer $35 a month. And the reason that it is $35 a month and not $3 a month is because we have to pay for our time. So we have a lot of people that are clients that want, and we have a decent hosting base. Like we have enough hosting clients to make it worth it. But basically the reason that we charge so much is because we don't have like a team of hosting. Hosting is not what we do normally. So what ends up happening is if something happens, like somebody's site gets hacked or something, or we have to go back through and somebody put something on their website that maybe broke their website. It doesn't happen very often, but every once in a blue moon, there's some weird thing that happens, and we have to account for developer time that goes to that, and that's what the $35 a month pays for. So, but a lot of times clients just want to keep everything in-house. Hey, you're the person that maintains my website. You do my hosting too. So I have one person that takes care of everything, and I talk to you, Wendy, when something goes wrong. So that's what that's for. The other costs you're going to look at are domains. Domains are something that I highly, highly, highly recommend my clients get on their own. Do not buy it through your hosting company. And the reason I say that is because you want to have control over it. Yes, like for example, GoDaddy is a good example. You can buy your domain through your hosting company with them because you're hosting your website. You think, oh, I'll just buy my domain through them. It's not like it's the end of the world if you do it. It's not. It's not. I just don't like the idea of having all my eggs in one basket, because if something goes wrong with GoDaddy, if you have a dispute with them, for example, they could lock down your site and your domain because they own your domain. So in my experience with doing website, I find it much better, much more better, is that a way to put it, to have your domain with another company, just because if something ever goes wrong and you get into a dispute, they now have access to lord over your files and your domain. And your domain is actually more important than your website because you can't backtrack that. So, I mean, in whole theory, you're getting backups of your website. So if you had to, like, pick up your toys and leave the playground, you could. But you can't do that if all your stuff's with the same place. So the next one we're going to talk about are updates. Now, this is probably what you came for, but those other ones are important because they all have to do with maintaining your website and keeping a good, clean site going. So updating your website. Now, there are things called maintenance plans. There are maintenance packages. There's a whole bunch of different ways to put it. Basically, what you're looking at is the designer or the developer's time to go in there every month or every week, or how, like, let's stick with a blog weekly update, right? So if you're going to put a new blog up on your site every week and you don't want to be the one to deal with it, what you're paying for is for that person to log into your site. Let's say you have a WordPress site, log into that WordPress space, go in, create a post, format it, get it looking the way you want it to look, and then sending it back to you as a draft, so like you can like preview it and make sure it's the way you want it, and then posting it, or just posting it if you have faith in them and they are doing it. And we have clients like that too that are just like, just put it up that one and I'll look at it later. Like again, it gets to that point where everybody gets comfortable with each other. So those are the kinds of maintenance packages I'm talking about here. You should not have a maintenance package to just have your website be taken care of. Like that's your hosting company's job. And what I would suggest, though, is that regardless of what you do, you have weekly or monthly packages sent to, or not packages, but zip files of your site sent to you that you just keep on a USB drive somewhere, that you just, or thumb drive just somewhere, and just forget about it, because when stuff hits the fan later on, you're going to want to be able to have something to go back to, and that's something to go back to. But as far as like maintenance fees for that, there shouldn't be maintenance fees for that. So what you're looking at is for a maintenance package for someone to update your site. So hold on to your seats, people, because I charge $129 an hour, and most people are absolutely floored that I charge that much an hour. But let me preface it by saying that I charge in 15-minute increments. So what does that mean? It means that a blog post would cost me to do it, with all my experience, my 22 plus years of experience doing it, $30. It's or around $30 after taxes and everything. So like that's what you would be looking at for me. So it would be times 4 would be $130, right? So what you're looking at for a maintenance cost, I mean, you can get somebody to do blog posts and web editorial work much cheaper than that. But you're also paying for what you get. So like, I would not recommend getting somebody off Fiverr, for example. Fiverr is a site where you're supposed to be able to get editors for $5, and then that's how much it costs you to update your site. I would be very scared to let somebody that had absolutely no financial investment in making my site work, have access to my site because they could really mess it up. That's my personal experience. I have used Fiverr, and I have used other, like I've used Elance as well, and I've had some good experiences, but no, most of them are not so hot because it's people looking to build their portfolio, for example, and that's why they're willing to do it so cheap. So you pay for what you get, and if that's what you can afford, that's what you can afford, but just get somebody that has a lot of reviews before you give them access to your site. So what does it cost to maintain a website? We're looking at probably around $30 a year for hosting, probably around $15 a year for domain, and then also what level of expertise you are willing to deal with for doing web editorial work and how much of it there will be. Like in this example, I'm doing one blog post a week, so we're talking $130 a month for me. So that is your annual cost for doing a website with a professional doing the web editing work. And if you can get cheaper people just to do web editorial stuff. So keep that in mind. That's kind of your range, what you're looking for. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'm more than happy to answer stuff. So I hope this has been helpful, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Okay, bye.